I found my first profitable product, and by the end of the year, I was making $100,000 a month in sales.
Crazy.
So at this point in my life, I know very confidently what my purpose is. Will it be the same in 20 years? I don't know. But right now, I can tell you what it is. And at this moment, we just recently hit 1 million subscribers on my channel.
Congrats, man.
I also have a business that I've been running since 2018 called Viral Vault, and it's basically a product research software. Word of mouth is super powerful, and in fact, word of mouth was the thing that got me to spend almost $20,000 on one video from this agency. I think YouTube will always and forever be the most valuable place to build a strong and loyal personal brand. Short form content will kickstart and jumpstart the speed of that growth.
Jordan, thanks so much for coming today. I really appreciate you coming out here and taking your time. I know that you probably get asked to be on a lot of different videos, talk to a bunch of different communities, but I'm honored that you have given time to come to our community and that you're able to pour into young entrepreneurs, not only through your content, but also through your ability to be involved in the community and providing value for everyone. So I wanted to thank you for that foremost.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Thanks for having me on the platform. I appreciate it. And I'm happy to share it today. We're going to get into it for sure.
For sure. I like it, my man. But let's hear a little bit about your experience, kind of like a quick intro of your life and how it all got started, how Jordan got started.
Yeah, so I grew up single mom, me and my sister. We weren't extremely poor, but we definitely didn't have money. My mom made like $18,000 a year working at the front desk. So money was always something that was a struggle for us. From a very young age, I knew that I didn't want to embark on the same path that my mom was on because I saw how hard it was. She'd wake up at 6 a.m., get us ready for school, bring us to school, go to work, get home at 6, cook us food, and go to sleep. And it was a really vicious cycle that I saw. She was depressed. She wasn't happy. So I knew I didn't want that. And around 10 years old, actually, we lost our house. We never had a house until I was around 8. And the 2 years that we had it were some of the best of my young life.
Right.
And shortly after, the house went into foreclosure because we couldn't afford it. And I think at that age, it lit a spark in me to want to do something greater. So all throughout middle and high school, I tried a variety of different businesses, anything you could possibly think of, from YouTube to reselling shoes to video editing. I've tried it. And I found my first actual success only almost 10 years later. When I finished high school, I was dead broke, ended up going to college, and I decided after my first year of college that I was going to start one more business. And that business ended up being e-commerce and dropshipping. So I used the refund from my student loan, a nice little $2,000 they gave me, and I said, I'm going to use this money and I'm going to flip it, and it's going to be the thing that sets me free. And I wish that was the end of the story, but what happened with that money was it got me my first traction with e-commerce. I lost all that money, but I knew that it was possible from spending those first dollars. And within that first 6 months, after countless trial and error, losing all my money, having to hustle, video edit again to stack up money, selling all my stuff to stack up money, dropped out of school, went full time on that. And yeah, that was how I got my start in entrepreneurship. But, you know, it wasn't amazing after that. It wasn't like I just had a massive rise to the top. Like, I had my ups and downs after that, some really big ones as well. But that's how I got started.
What do you think out of all the, because you named a lot of businesses to me earlier, what do you think was like your favorite one? Like the one, maybe not the one that you had the most success on, but one that you enjoyed the most, like the industry that you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, without a doubt, it was YouTube for sure. Because ever since I was 12 years old, I've been playing around on YouTube and making videos with my friends and just doing stuff because I wanted to do it. So it's always been that, and I've delved away from that, but I always found my way back to that. Whether I was interested in gaming or whether I was interested in shoes or whether I was just a little kid, I've always been creating content and putting it on YouTube. So I would say that. And also I hosted a sneaker convention before, and that was really fun too. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
What do you convey all your success to? Do you think there, like, some people are like, oh, it's a mentor. Oh, I had this course. Oh, I just grinding and trial and error. What do you think you would attest yours to?
I honestly can give all the glory to God, and I would also say that if you want a more practical piece of advice, it's a extreme amount of resilience. And how does that resilience come into play? Well, you have to have faith, and you have to know that you are capable of achieving great things.
100%.
And for me, I've been through the lowest lows that you possibly could think of, from wanting to end my life, from seeing my mom crying every single night, from seeing my family having addiction problems with drugs and substances, from losing family members. Whatever you think of, you know, I can say I've been through a lot of it.
Right.
And I still have persevered and continue to push through. So I think resilience is the thing that has allowed me to push past and make it happen. And I'm still working on that myself. I still face challenges to this day, you know?
Yeah.
But that is, I feel like, the one thing. Yeah.
Where do you think your purpose lies? We talk a lot about in the community about making sure that you're not just doing it for the money or the fame or whatever. Like where do you think your target is that you're trying to aim for, and why push there every single day?
So I feel like, side note, it's important as humans to be flexible and to be like water and to flow and go with the flow. Having said that, and now I've been blessed to be in a network of other successful people that I get to share their stories too. If I can boil it down to one simple sentence, it's to inspire the world through stories.
Yeah.
My story and the stories of other people around me. That, to me, is the greatest blessing. You know, we're here at the Capital Club event in Cartagena, Spain, and I would say, I can't say all, but I would say I've had 10 people or more come up to me at this event and tell me, your videos were how I found Luke Belmar, and this is the reason why I've come to Capital Club, and now I've met all these people. And I've also heard your videos were the things that got me into e-commerce, and last year I made $10 million in e-commerce.
Love that.
So for me, nothing puts a fire inside of me more than that. I could make $10 million in a month, and it would feel awesome. But it wouldn't feel the same as seeing some kid that comes up to me and it's like, yo, I retired my mom because of what you put inside of me as a young kid. And not even just children, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it's the money. The money is just a tool in the end, but the purpose and the reason why we do it all is to help people. Like that's the end all get all. Was that your focus from the beginning? Like, is that why when you're like, hey, I want to start making tons of money, is because I want to help people, or I just want to have a different life than what my family had, and then eventually you discovered, wow, I really like helping people?
I think it didn't start with helping the masses. I think it's impossible to start with that as your first star to focus towards. I think for me, it started maybe a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish because I didn't want to be mediocre. And I knew that I wasn't that. So I wasn't going to allow myself to do that. So I always had a desire for something greater. And that was in the form of financial means, in the form of fitness, in the form of health. I always wanted to be greater than average. If you scale it out a little bit, it's wanting to help my mom and take care of my family, which is super important to me. But you are unable to do that if you don't first operate with some level of selfish desire, which typically gets a negative outlook. But you have to first be selfish to ever become selfless and give back to the world. You cannot give anything out of your cup if it's empty.
100%. If yours isn't filled, you can't pour into others, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And going a little bit more, a little bit away from your story and kind of what your present day is, what businesses do you have going on now? And how is your journey today?
For people that want to get into e-commerce, we give you the products, we give you the training, we give you the coaching, and it's really accessible to anybody. It's less than, a couple dollars a day to afford this. And I've had this business since 2018. Okay. Prior to that, I was doing e-commerce for the last 5 years, but I actually sold my store, my brand, which I documented the whole thing on YouTube.
Love that.
I'm super public about the brand too. It's like a sleep product. And I sold that last year in August to go all in on this personal brand that I'm.
And what was that exit like a little bit for someone that's interested in exiting their agency? How did you prepare the brand to exit it?
Yeah. Was
that something from the beginning, or did you figure it out later? Like, dang, I could probably exit this. This is great. And then you had to like prepare a team, and what kind of parameters did you have to set up in order to get it like sell ready, I guess?
So the first time I had success with dropshipping, I made my first $1 million in sales, I made a massive amount of mistakes that killed the longevity and equity value in my business. This time around, when I launched this new brand, I fixed a lot of those mistakes. What were those mistakes? The first one was relying entirely on one ad platform.
Yeah.
I made my first almost $2 million just from doing Facebook ads. But the problem with that is, especially when you're running a brand, is that if you lose that account, you lose your business.
100%.
With this brand, one thing that allowed me to sell it was that we were omnipresent. We were on Facebook. We were on YouTube ads, which almost nobody else was on. We were on Google search campaigns. We ranked SEO for this product. We even had an Amazon listing that didn't make a ton of money, but if you searched for the name of this product, which was sleep headphones, it popped up.
Yeah.
So therefore, we were ranking for this very powerful keyword. That helped tremendously. We were also on influencers. A bunch of YouTube influencers were promoting our product in the ASMR industry. The other thing that helped was that I had a team that pretty much ran everything. At this time, I was focused entirely on YouTube. So I wanted to fill in all the gaps. I had a manager, I had customer support, I had a media buyer. So for a prospective buyer, even though the business wasn't climbing at the stage that I sold it, they saw it as an opportunity to go ahead and come in here. This is already cash flowing. Let me come in and pump what I have inside of this. So if I'm somebody watching this video and I want to market my company for an exit, I would say first, you have to make sure that it is growing without just relying on one ad platform. And you also have to put people in place that are running the business. Your job should be kind of like the overseer of those people. You shouldn't be actively in it if you want to sell it.
Yeah, that's the same thing with agencies too. Like people that rely on one source for lead generation, it's very, very hard to get acquired for that.
Yeah.
Another
thing I would just add. No, I just wanted to add this because it really like changed the whole thing for me. Having the right broker is what will get your business sold. Okay. The first guy that I worked with just was not helping me, and he was being very pessimistic about me selling this company, and it made me not think that it was possible. The second people that I worked with were actually helping me restructure and design the business to get it sold. One guy was like, "No, nobody would ever buy this. This won't sell." The other guy was like, "Okay, we can sell this if we do X, Y, and Z." So having a right broker is super important. I used a company called Website Closers, actually.
Oh, very
I'm not
cool.
like partnered with them or anything like that. Like I'm just giving you guys that game. If you have a business you want to sell, they'll do the valuation for you. They'll tell you what you need to tighten up to get it sold, and then they have a huge, huge list of buyers. So,
did you ever work with any agencies on that e-com brand?
Yeah, I worked with a couple. I'll tell you, I worked with some Google Ads agencies. I don't know if you want me to name them, but I worked with Google Ads agencies. I worked with TikTok creation agencies. I worked with content agencies, like creative agencies, to make like YouTube, like commercial, like Dr. Squatch type of commercial. I paid somebody so much money, and that commercial flopped horribly. I paid somebody to take photos. So yes, I worked with a bunch of different types of agencies. I did, yeah. And
were you the one doing the hiring for the agencies?
Yeah, I was super picky about that.
And what were kind of like the characteristics that you look for when you were looking for prospective agencies, or if people reached out to you, what was your way of vetting people?
So I would say there's two sides to this answer. The first side is on like a creative agency side. If you're a creative agency, I'm looking for one thing. What does your creative look like? And does it deliver results? I guess that's two things. But really, I'm looking at what does it look like? Like if you're a photography agency and I look at your photos and they're shit, 0% chance I'm ever buying any product from you. And then also, if I'm looking at your video ads, if you're a video ad agency and I can't see a track record of success, I won't purchase from you. The second thing that I'm looking at is, and this was what I did, I can't speak for everybody, but I looked on, are my friends using this? I got a bunch of friends doing e-commerce. So I got a bunch of friends doing this game. So do I know anybody personally that's using this? I wouldn't have did that otherwise, but my friend was like, nah, bro, they're so good. Like, da-da-da-da. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So word of mouth, what does your work actually look like, and what are the results that it's bringing in? That's what would sell me. Yeah.
Yeah, that for sure. That's key. I mean, word of mouth it's key for sure. For newer agencies, it's harder, but for if you're in the business for a while and you're not getting referrals, then you need to check the work that you're doing.
Yeah, word of mouth comes from those first two things, right? Like being great at what you do and delivering results.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like the core of agency business model is, and that's the biggest challenge. But if you can figure out how to do both of those things, then you're off to the races.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then how many team members do you have right now?
So on YouTube, My YouTube side of my business, we have 4 people.
Okay.
I have a filmer. He edits for me as well. Actually, I guess I have more than 4 people. I'll say 5 people because we just brought somebody new on. So I have a filmer, and he's actually kind of like a partner in my whole YouTube thing. He came on board when I had around 100,000 subscribers, and now we have 1 million. So he's been here for the long ride. He gets a percentage of what we earn from the channel, and he's all in with me. He goes on every trip with me. You met him before. He's not here this time.
Yeah.
Actually, my girlfriend, she works with me as well. She is sort of like admin, and she helps me with planning travel and outreaching to different people to do interviews with, and just kind of like managing little things that I don't want to do. You could say an assistant, but I don't like that term. I feel like it's a little like whatever. I have another editor that we just hired that's been super helpful. He's really talented. And then I also have a strategist who helps me come up with new ideas and then analyze the success of my previous videos. In my software business, I'm not going to name every single employee, but we have over 15 employees.
Love that.
We're trying to hire more consistently. But everything from manager, we have a CMO, we have a CTO, we got customer service, we got website designers and copywriters and product researchers and coaches. And
And what's been the key to hire your team and to create because I know that you're obviously big on like your culture and your vision and your dream and stuff. And how are you able to kind of cultivate that culture inside that team and what you want to accomplish?
I'm an anomaly because 95% of my employees have come from my audience.
Oh, okay.
So they already know what it is when they're coming on board. They understand what I'm about and what I represent, and they want to be a part of this mission that I'm on.
Love that.
So that has been extremely beneficial. And honestly, one of the biggest benefits of having a personal brand is the level of high quality talent that comes to me. If I go to my DM right now and I go to the little hidden request section, every day there's 5 to 10 to 20 people that are skilled at something that want to have a job.
Can I work for you for free?
Yeah, and they're
Check
like
out this
elite editors,
you. Yeah.
you know? So a lot of them come from that. So that I say I'm an anomaly with that. Outside of that, I think just being very clear on what you're trying to deliver with your business helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on that note a little bit, we can pivot to personal brand, since I mean that's how I've had my agency success. Is I do it all through my personal Instagram. My community knows that. But how do you think? What do you attest to your success as far as your personal brand goes?
I think it's 2 things. I think it comes down to authenticity and creating content that is really true to you.
Yeah.
So very early in my journey, what do I mean by authenticity? Very early in my journey, when I started this YouTube channel, if you watch the first videos, I'm literally just documenting the process of what I'm doing. I'm not doing clickbait. I'm not trying to get views. I'm just showing people, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm making money. Here's my dashboard, just so you guys know it's legit.
Yeah.
It's about as authentic as it possibly could get. Now, that's amazing. We all love the authentic, truthful, trustworthy guy, but there's a second side of it, which is what most people don't do, and that's respecting and understanding the game of YouTube. To get views and succeed on YouTube, there is a formula to it. A formula that I'm still trying to master myself, but I've got a better understanding of it now than I did 5 years ago. You must learn how to create a great idea for a video, the most important thing. Title and thumbnail, which is really the packaging of the video, the marketing of the video. And then learn how to create a great video in and of itself. And inside of each of those aspects, there's so many tiny little micro things that you need to understand. But it was that journey, the pursuit of that allowed me to finally see some success on YouTube. It wasn't like I learned one thing and I shifted. It was that I understood that it is a game behind YouTube, and I need to start respecting it as such.
For someone that wanted to start a personal brand today, like no one knows who they are, completely anonymous, which platform would you recommend them starting in, and how would you recommend them starting today?
Now, short form content will not build the deep audience connection that you're yearning for, but it will put attention towards you. It will make people know that you exist, but it won't make people fall in love with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I would say for people is to learn how to create videos within the niche that you're in. So let's say agency owners. Deliver on the problems that agency owners are having. Figure out what questions they want to have. Figure out what things they're trying to solve and create videos that answer those things. And then continue to create shorts and TikToks and Reels documenting your journey as an agency owner. That way you can position yourself as an authority. And when people go to see your channel, they can learn about how they can do this business themselves.
For sure.
Yeah.
And has your personal brand helped with any of your businesses at all? Because obviously with e-com, maybe not as much, but what with the SaaS, how has that helped?
With ecom, it really just hurt me more than anything because it was like people would just, because I was open about my brand, so people would just come and copy the brand and
Yeah.
just try to rip off all my photos and everything. So that was kind of annoying. With the SaaS business, it has been the catalyst of growth. If my YouTube channel didn't exist, the software would not be anywhere near where it's at. And I think if you have an agency, I think it's a no-brainer to be putting out some form of content. Don't let it be the sole driver of growth for your company.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you should really understand that it's a very powerful tool. And, you know, at a high level, if you're already making good money, you don't even have to be the guy that puts out content for your agency. You know, you can have somebody from your team that's publishing case studies of how you grew somebody from 0 to 1 million followers with your TikTok agency, or how you give me an example of one of your agency students in the program, and I'll help you figure out how to make them a personal brand.
Well, if they were doing, well, a lot of them work with e-commerce brands already, right? So like their main target market is e-com brands, or with local businesses. I don't think a personal brand would help as much because it's not like local businesses are on Instagram looking for marketing agencies or people to follow. But for e-com brands, for sure, that's a huge thing. People go to events for those and all these different things, and they speak on stages. And like whenever I speak at e-com events, I always get a bunch of clients from that because having a brand around selling to e-com brands is important because that's where they are. They're on Instagram. So we have people that have like email marketing agencies, but they do email marketing specifically for e-com, or an ads agency, a media buying agency, creative agency. So kind of along the lines of people that you would have hired for your brand.
Yeah, I think content would help them. It's obviously not going to be the biggest way to grow. Listen, I'll say this. The reason why I create content is not because it's going to be the catalyst to growing my business. I do it because, as you heard from my story, it's the thing that I've loved since I was a kid. And I've strayed away from it, but now I've been able to make it work. And I found a lane that works and is unique to me. So I want to continue pursuing that at the highest level. For everybody else, you have to ask yourself, what is your goal, right? You can make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars without anybody ever knowing who you are and just operating that
100%.
way. Though on the flip side, there is a leverage that comes from having a powerful name. For example, if Luke Belmar, for example, launched an agency helping people grow their social media following, people would eat that shit up.
They would eat it up, yeah.
And spend real money. They would spend more money with him than they would with anybody else because he's the person of authority. And I do believe that influence is one of the more valuable currencies out here in the world. But influence doesn't always come from fame. So,
right.
Yeah.
So do you think that when you're trying to make content and growing a personal brand, you can't have your main purpose being like, I'm just doing this to get clients?
You absolutely can. Just don't expect to get 1 million subscribers from doing that, you know? Just understand that if you do that, you're playing a different game. Your goal, if you want to do that, is to serve the micro niche that you're in and deliver the best stuff that you possibly can. That's what I did in the beginning of my YouTube journey. I was making and they're all still on my channel, I was making very specific dropshipping focused content. How to optimize your product page for conversions. Nobody knows what that means unless you're doing dropshipping, you know? What allowed me to scale outside of that and what allowed me to get 1 million subscribers was playing a different game. That game is, instead of servicing people that are actively dropshipping, what if we tap into people that have heard of dropshipping and want to get started? So instead of teaching, let's say I started dropshipping from scratch. Now you're like, oh, I heard of this. Let me see if it works. And then I zoomed out even further. Instead of going for people that heard of dropshipping, let's just heard of people that started online business in general. Like I did a video, for example, like millionaire starts from zero. It's targeted to the broadest audience you could think of.
Yeah.
Then we zoom out even further and we think of people that are just interested in money as a whole. And now we've expanded our audience from here all the way out to here.
Yeah.
But if I was a business owner and I was trying to service dropshipping people, I would keep it in here and I would deliver the best possible thing that I could. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
For sure. And just kind of with your success at such a young age, how have you been able to, because I know I'm telling you this from my perspective, how have you been able to maintain that same humility that you've probably had for your whole life?
I think experiencing the wrath of God and understanding that you fly too high, you will come crashing right down. And understanding that I'm no better than anybody. I'm no better than the guy on the side of the street. I'm no better than anybody that's watching this or watching any of my content. We're all equal. I'm not saying we're all equal, like at the same level, but we all have opportunities in this world. And if I did it, I know many other people could do it as well. So with that being said, I have no reason to carry a massive ego. Now, do I carry supreme confidence in my craft? Yes. But do I carry around this feeling as if I'm better than anybody? No, because it's not the way I was raised.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think how has that played into your success as well?
I think it gravitates people that are more successful than me towards me, which allows me to have strong relationships with those around me. I feel like I'm able to mesh with people that are at the lowest of the low and the highest of the high. I've sat with billionaires and I've sat on the street with homeless people and had conversations with them. So that has been like a superpower. I feel like that's God's gift to me, my ability to conversate with all different walks of people, my ability to ask the right questions and get value from everyone, get inspiration from everything. That has been, I feel like, one of my gifts that I've been given. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know this is your first kind of, your first Capital Club. You've been with Luke obviously for a little bit, but have you been in any other communities, either online or in person? And how has that kind of played into your journey?
My own community has been very beneficial to me because I get to really make a direct impact on a subset of people and see their growth. So my own community, Viral Vault, has been extremely impactful in my life. I've been to other masterminds. None of them compare to this one in any category at all. Capital Club is a different league.
Yeah. And networking, how has that kind of played into your success as well, or having a community?
One thing that I learned from Luke that I kind of like is this spider web story. I won't go into the whole story, but the basic premise of it is that the spider builds a web and it attracts the things that fly into it. So then the spider can eat whatever he wants. For me, if I continue to grow my name and grow my influence, the people that come to me to do videos, to connect, to share their stories with me, to spend a day with me, to spend time with me, is like exponential. People from music artists to billionaires to $100 million entrepreneurs, people reach out to me because my name continues to grow. I got people sending me VC deals if I'm interested. I got people sending me real estate deals. I got people that want to partner with me on different businesses. Like that has been my way of successfully climbing the networking ladder, because I'm not the richest guy. In fact, here at Capital Club, I would argue that I'm on the lower percentile. I don't know how much money everybody's got, but when I walk in the room, there is a respect that I get. And I think that that's based on what I explained to you before. So, Yeah,
100%. And then just going back a little bit into the personal brands and first business owners, maybe that people haven't even started their agency yet. Obviously, in this market that we're in right now, it wasn't like 5 years ago when you started, or even 2 years ago when I started. Like, it's very saturated, almost every industry online.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for someone that wanted to start up an agency or just a business in general? How would you get it started if you hit zero today and had to start over?
I actually do really like the agency business model. So if I was to start an agency today, I think it first starts with identifying a market and identifying the biggest problem that they have. It obviously helps if it's something that you have some experience in. So, a lot of people, they jump straight into doing marketing for e-commerce brands, but you never did e-commerce, bro. You don't know like what people actually want. You don't know the problems that they actually have. You don't even know how to run ads yet, Even looking at the skills that you have built up in your life, like maybe you're in good shape, and maybe you've been able to build your body up in a way that other people would desire. Like, I guess it wouldn't be an agency, but it would still be service-based. Like, just starting with something as simple as training people and getting in touch with people can teach you the skill of sales. And then where it gets really cool is that you could then leverage that to teach other fitness professionals on how they could grow their coaching business. But I've never started an agency. I've never succeeded with an agency. So it's hard for me to give a ton of game on that.
Yeah.
All I know for certain is that you need to start with a market that you're familiar with, identify the biggest problem that they have, and figure out how you can solve that better than anybody else. If it can come down to anything, that's what I would say.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just as far as your success with YouTube, obviously breaking 1 million, super awesome. When you were younger, starting off YouTube, I mean, obviously probably you couldn't imagine where you are now, but when you were getting some traction with YouTube, did you ever envision breaking that milestone? Or was that always something that you're like, yeah, I want to get there? It was just like, oh, I kind of ended up here.
There was a moment that I didn't think I could do it, and I didn't. Mm-hmm. And then there was moments where I knew I could do it, and then suddenly I got closer and closer and I did it. So, it's like the man that thinks he can do it and the man that thinks he can't do it, and they're both right. Mm-hmm. I've been both of those. So what I'm trying to say is that in those times that I didn't know it was possible, I never was going to get there.
Yeah.
When I shifted my perspective to know that it was possible, I even printed out at one point in time like the golden plaque like on a piece of paper and stuck it in my office, like just so like I saw it every single day. And by the time that I hit 1 million subscribers, even though it was an emotional day for me because like I had just like my dad had just passed away literally 2 days prior, it wasn't so much of like oh my God, I can't believe we did this.
Right.
Like it was like I knew it was gonna happen. In fact, like going into this year of 2023, I knew that I was gonna do it around that time. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those birthday things. Like, oh, it's my birthday. I turned 21, but really, it's been 365 days until I turned 21.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen, and I felt very good when it happened. But best believe that I had already accepted that I was going to get there, and I do think that is the first step to success. I really do. I think
the mindset.
Like, if you understand, like, you want to make $1 million a month, you have to believe that is possible first. That's step 0. And then you start actually learning everything else. But
yeah, I mean, saying to yourself, like, I believe this is going to happen. What are other things that you do to help affect your mindset of like, this is how obviously mindset's incredibly important, but how do you apply it to your life specifically?
Surrounding myself with people that have done the thing that I want to do has been paramount to my success because it gives me a real example. Something tangible, something that shows that it's possible. Has been ever since I had $0 and I was just starting e-commerce. I surrounded myself with people that were doing $100 a day.
Yeah.
Now that I'm doing $5,000 a day, who's doing 10? Now that I'm doing $100,000 a month, who's doing 200? Always climbing that ladder. If I got 1 million subscribers, I want my number one YouTube friend that I talk to every day to have 1.5 million subscribers or 3 million subscribers, because now I know it's possible and now I can understand what he's doing to get there.
Yeah, it's like what Luke says, if you're the biggest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, I mean, I've always believed in that, and the more that I put it into practice, the faster I grow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you do just as far as practical things besides being the smallest in the room that you do on a daily basis as far as your daily routine or whatever? I'm not sure if you're a believer of routines, but is there something that you do on a daily basis?
I go on walks. I have certain little things that I do. Like I drink coffee, but I don't drink it till like an hour, 2 hours during the day. I check in with my family every single day. My mom, I always check in with her. My brothers, most every day. I practice gratitude, just being thankful just for the fact that I woke up on that day. And then I can't say I do these things daily, but I do them very often. I do very much like to journal and kind of write my thoughts and get them out of my head.
Yeah.
These are the things that I do that kind of keep me in check.
And as far as like your physique too, a lot of what we talk about in the community is the importance of health and diet and exercise and all that kind of stuff. And I know that you have a completely different take than I have as far as diet goes.
Yeah.
So how does diet play and health play into your entrepreneurial journey, and how and describe a little bit what it is?
I feel like health is the foundation of everything. So if you don't have that, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Yeah.
I've always been super health conscious. I've been plant-based for the last 6 years, but even before that, I was super health conscious. And even when I would eat meat, I would always try to eat the best stuff that I could with the money that I had. Going plant-based was less of a decision around health than it was around just understanding the production of the majority of meat-based products that I was eating. and it was like a wake up for me to like not be interested in this food anymore.
Yeah.
So I stopped eating it, and I felt just as good, sometimes even better than I did before. I was still able to work in the gym at the level that I was at before, and I haven't turned back since. Now that I've learned what I learned from people like Gary Brecka and these other really successful biohackers, I like to further investigate some deeper tests.
Yeah.
But I can tell you how I feel, I can tell you how I perform, and I can say that I'm doing that at a high level. So yeah, plant-based diet has worked very well for me.
I love that. Very cool. And just kind of finishing up here. Is there anything else that you would, I always ask people kind of 3 different questions because we kind of have 3 different audiences inside of the community. The first one is people that are wanting to start up their agency or barely on the rim of getting started. The second one is people that are just trying to climb over the 100K mark, 100K a month. And then the third audience that we have are people that are trying to make exits out of their agencies, whether 8, 9-figure, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I always ask the guests that we have, like, what are kind of like your 3 pieces of advice that you would have for each level of those?
Yeah, so if you're out here and you're just trying to get your business off the ground, whether it's an agency or it's a store or it's a YouTube channel, take the advice that I said earlier of finding somebody that's just a couple levels up the ladder than you are, because they're going to not only show you that it's possible, but they're going to help you fill the gaps that you're missing in figuring all this out. Now, if you're somebody that is trying to get over that mark of 100K a month, I would say figure out the action that produces the highest ROI within your business. So for me, when I was running my e-commerce business, the highest ROI task that I possibly could do is launching new creatives on Facebook and YouTube ads. Why? Because if we hit a new ad, suddenly we've unlocked profitable ad spend that we could scale and make more money. On YouTube, what's the highest ROI task I can make? Well, it's making another video. You know? Once you identify that task, cut out all the things that aren't related to that and double down on that as much as you possibly can. And that's typically going to get you over the hump. And as for the people that want to exit, I would say get a great broker. The broker is not only the person that helps finish the sale, but they're almost like a coach and a consultant in a way that they can really help you structure your business in a way to get it sold. So those would be my 3 foundational principles for each step of the journey.
I love it. Awesome. If people are interested in the SaaS that you have, or interested in seeing your content, where can they find you?
Just look me up, Jordan Welch, on YouTube. Everything's there. I don't even ask people to buy my stuff. Just go watch some of the videos, see if you like them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, Jordan, really appreciate your time. Super grateful for what you're doing for your community and what you're doing just in the world in general. Love the impact that you're having, and can't wait to see where your success continues to take you and how many lives it continues to impact. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. You too. Appreciate you having me on here.
Awesome.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.